And today we have a lovely new lady. I am going to go to speaker here. Oops, no, that's not going to work. Okay, let me go here and let me read this lovely young lady. So I had the pleasure of meeting this lovely young lady in Maryland. Is where I met her for the first time, but I met her prior to that on a Zoom, and we hit it off like a house on fire. So Dr. Barnsley Brown helps big-hearted women and business owners let go of the past and soar into six figures and more. Fast with fun in her business motivational presentations, kick-ass coaching programs, and transformational Reiki seminars. For over 20 years, she has trained thousands of people in Reiki in 5 countries worldwide and presented for over 2,000 organizations such as the Environmental Protection Agency, Deloitte and Touche, eWomen Network, Women in Networking, the National Association of Women Business Owners Career and Technical Education Associations, business centers, chambers of commerce, churches, nonprofits. This is coming out of your time, Barnsley, and more. This list, look at how long this list is. Can you see why we connected so quickly? And many, many more, she says to me and gives me a break. Yay. Dr. Barnsley is a sought-after radio and podcast guest and host, the weekly Bold Badass Business Owners Show. Be sure to grab your complimentary VIP copy of her book, How to Overcome Overwhelm in 7 Easy Steps. I am going to let her post her website on here. It's www.spirited-solutions.com. .com, sorry. If she's got it down here twice, so I don't want to mess it up. Okay, with that, I present you the amazing and spectacular Dr. Barnsley Brown. Take it away, Barnsley.
Oh my God, who is this wild woman? Where is she? Where is she? Where is this woman? I want to know. I'm so happy to be here, Marianne. You all have to know that when I met Marianne, it was like, she is my sister. She is my sister. We are so similar in our interest and our energy, and we just immediately bonded and felt like we had known each other for ages, right, Marianne? And you all, today, I'm going to take a little bit of a different, that might surprise you, a different approach here, because, you know, life is not all business. Life is not all business. And what I have found in working with thousands and thousands of people across the globe is that whatever is happening for us personally is also bleeding over into our professional life and into our businesses. And so while I'm a creative marketing strategist, and I would talk to you until I'm as blue as this shirt about marketing, I am not going to do that today. I'm absolutely not going to do that. I want us to look at another thing, and that is how we are absolutely sabotaging ourselves at times. And this has to stop. So you've already heard that I love helping big-hearted entrepreneurs soar into 6 figures and more. Why is this important to me? Quick statistic, 86.3% of entrepreneurs never make it to 6 figures or more. Let me repeat that, 86.3% of people who are business owners never make it to 100K. Now, this to me is just abhorrent. We have to change it. And it is not, you all, about strategy. Here's the thing. If our mindset is off, we don't do the strategy. If our mindset is off, we don't implement. If our mindset is off, we stay on I wish I could island, which is very near someday I will island. They're both islands in the Bermuda Triangle, you all. And when you go there, you get lost. So let's not go there. Or if you go there, for goodness sakes, get the heck out of there, all right? So I want to share something in January, something that happened to me in January. Has anyone else here ever driven in circles at a gas station? Oh, yes. Just raise your hand in your virtual place, wherever you are. You might be in the bathroom, you might be in your office, you might be in a coffee shop. I don't know, but just raise your hand. Make people wonder. Yes, I have driven in circles at a gas station, but it was not because I was looking for a pump. It was because a dear a family member of mine in January began to have a mental health crisis, and was having anxiety and panic attacks. And these were preventing her from taking on and doing her ordinary daily activities, you all. And I will tell you right up front, because I am very forthright, I did not know what the heck to do. Here I was in this situation, and I was expected to lead with God, to lead this situation, to lead this person who I love, because they at that moment were not able to. And I did not know what to do. I finally parked at the gas station at a pump, and we sat there for probably 40 minutes. And I'm sure inside that Circle K, they were thinking, what the heck are those people doing out there? Are they dealing drugs? But literally, I had to calm myself, calm my nervous system, tune into my inner wisdom, and ask for guidance. I also was able to get a counselor on the phone because this was a crisis situation, and then able to create a plan of action. Now, you all, what came up immediately in this situation was doubt. And I want to suggest to you, and by the way, this is a talk I've never given. I just prepared this just for you today. Leadership with God means leadership with getting over doubt. All right? Getting over doubt. We have to do that. And in fact, most of us have an inner critic, an inner naysayer, an inner, we might use a word that rhymes with witch. We have that inner thing. Yeah, go ahead and laugh. It's okay. Cough it up. It's just a hairball. It's okay to laugh. We all have that. And guess what I call mine? I call her Helga with 2 L's, because that's where she wants to put me, in hell. She'll say things like, oh, you're too fat, or you're not good enough. You don't know enough. You need to take another course. You need to do this, whatever. So here's the thing. I want you right now in the comments to name your inner critic, inner blank, inner naysayer. I want you to give a name. It might be Death Eater. It might be Mortimer. You know, mort comes from death in French. It might be Gertrude. Hopefully there's not anybody named Gertrude here. If you are, please forgive me, but give it a name. And you could take Helga if you want. Put it in the comments. All right. And I want you to call her out. And here's how you handle her. You send her to Antarctica on a vacation with a one-way ticket. Yes, you all. You send her ice fishing in Antarctica, and you send her where there's thin ice with a one-way ticket, because Helga doesn't run the show. Helga is not the one in charge. It is your divine self, that spark of the divine, that power of the divine that is within you that gets to run the show. However, you must make the decision. You must practice diverting Helga. She's really good to have do your taxes, by the way, because she loves to criticize everything. Just put her on your taxes, right? Or put her on something with database entry where she can talk about what a bad typist you are, and then get on with your work and your vocation in the world. All right, you all, how often do you doubt yourself in your life and business? And guess what? We can't keep doing that. We are charged, each of us, with a vocation. The word vocation comes from Latin vocare, which means calling. You have a calling, and it is yours and yours alone. And if you do not do it, someone else will not do it. If you do not do it, you will go to your grave carrying a precious, precious gift that could have helped so many. So how about freaking getting out of your own way? How about pushing Helga aside? It's a great story. One of my favorite writers, Sark, Succulent Wild Woman. If you don't have that book, you've got to get it. And by the way, she talks about succulent men too. She doesn't leave you all out. Succulent Wild Woman. She has a story about her inner critic. One day, her inner critic, and by the way, she is just huge. I love her. She's one of my favorite writers ever and an artist. She was having a real hard day, and her inner critic was just taking her to task. She was in a parking lot. There was a policeman there. She went over to the policeman and she said, "Sir, would you kindly help me with my inner critic? Would you kindly arrest her?" And the policeman went over, opened her car door, escorted, said, "Let me take the inner critic," and put it in the back of his car. All imaginary, right, you all? But he played right along with this. Isn't that a beautiful story? My daughter, when she was little, sometimes, as all of us do when we're little, we whine. Some of us never outgrow it, right? So we had a name for this. Yeah, some of us don't. And if you haven't outgrown it, you need to spend a little time with me. All right, let me just say, we'll set you straight. So my daughter would get whiny. And we called that part of her. I said, "Well, honey, let's give her a name. Let's call her, how about Whiny Girl?" And she said, "Oh, I love it, Mom. Let's call her Whiny Girl." And so when we were going to go have an adventure, I'd say, "Zelia, honey, you know what? Why don't we just lock Whiny Girl in the closet today so we can go have fun? What do you think?" And she'd be like, "Okay, Mom." And we go and we literally, okay, don't do this to your children, y'all. I'm talking about an imaginary character, Whiny Girl. And we'd open the door to the closet, the hall closet, and we put Whiny Girl in and we closed the door. And I'd say, "Yay, now we can go have fun. Now we can go have an adventure." So what part of you do you need to lock up in the closet? Seriously, what part of you is running the show and it's not your God self, your divine spirit within? Good question. Leadership with God is getting over doubt. G-O-D, getting over doubt. So name that part of yourself. That's your first action step, and call her out. I'm a coach, I'm a business coach, and I'm a speaker, and I want to give you action steps. I will not be happy unless you take away action steps. All right. So first one is name it, give it a name, give it a name that makes you laugh. Debbie Downer, Saturday Night Live, love it. Go watch some Debbie Downer on Saturday Night Live, and you could call yours, you could call yours a version of Debbie Downer, Deidre Downer, whatever. Second action step, I want you to think for a second. Everybody has different names for God. And by the way, I believe that God is in every culture. And if truly we are made in the image and likeness of God, then that means God is male, female, trans, white, black, yellow, purple, green, French, Tasmanian, North American, South American. God is all of those things. If we are indeed made in the image and likeness of God, then God shows up in every culture and in many cultural traditions. In every cultural tradition, in some way, shape, or form, that divine spark is there. Now, you may call it something else. You may call it Allah. You may call it Source. You may call it Great Spirit. You may call it God. Whatever you call it, just have it, right? I want you to put in the chat some qualities that you ascribe to that source energy. What are qualities you ascribe to that source energy? Maybe things like love, maybe things like power, maybe things like faithful, loyal, true. Put those qualities in the chat. Just throw them in there and feel free to look at everybody else's to get ideas as well. And what I want to say to you, as you put those qualities that you see in source up there, is that every single quality you have listed there is within you. Every single quality you have listed there in the chat is within you, or you would not be able to recognize it. Have you ever heard that saying? It's usually used in a derogatory sense. If you spot it, you got it. Well, in this case, this is the positive side of it. If you spot it, you got it. If you spotted love, then you are love. If you spotted power, then you are power. If you spotted faithfulness, then you are faithfulness. And notice I said you are. I didn't say you will be. I didn't say you feel. I said you are. You are. Yahweh, I am. You are that. So that's the second thing, is I want you to recognize that those qualities are within you. And at those moments when you feel doubtful, when you are driving in circles at the gas station, when you are going in circles in your business, when you feel like you're slogging it out and you're not getting where you want to go, and that does happen to all of us, you all, every single person in business has stories of this. It happens. It happens. There's no buffer zone. Like somebody pointed out earlier, there's nobody to blame. Who you going to fire? Not Ghostbusters. You're going to fire yourself. Think about it. Okay. Anyway, so you all, Marianne's cracking up. I love that. Thank you for laughing, Marianne. So, and it's good to laugh, you all. By the way, it gives us a dopamine hit. It gives us endorphins. It gives us joy. It gives us energy. So laugh, guffaw, as we say in the South. The qualities that you saw are within you. And at those moments that you want to throw in the towel, at those moments when you're contemplating going back to a crazy cubicle in a job you hate, because you're not making the money you want to make, well, first of all, you need to talk to me. Let's monetize your passion and your vocation. But also, it's time for you to say, I am love. My business, here's an affirmation for you. My business is God in action. Or change it to source in action, whatever word you use. My business is divine energy in action. I am divine energy in action. Everything, here's a good one. Everything I am, have, and do is God in action. There's that wonderful transformational formula that probably some of you have heard: be, do, have. Not doobie doobie do, that's a song, but be, do, have. It is our state of being that determines what we do, the actions we take or do not take. And then based on the actions we take or do not take, because inaction is an action, then we have or don't have. Our state of being is first and foremost. And that's why I'm talking about this today, instead of sitting here and saying, okay, let's talk about social media, or let's talk about this, or let's talk about, how about we talk about your presentations that you're giving and how to make your CTA, your call to action. Nope, I'm not doing that, because I realize that you're not going to do any of those strategies unless you get what's up here right, and what's in here, i.e. in your heart, right. Both must go together. So the third thing here, you all, is, and I think this is so important. Sometimes when we think leadership in God, can I say this, Marianne, because I am going to, when we think leadership with God, she's like, I mean, I can't stop you. When we think leadership with God, you all, we think, oh, we'll be a servant leader. We're going to take care of everyone. We're so magnanimous. We're so beautiful. We're so sweet and kind and good. Well, guess what, you all? Jesus got pissed off. Jesus turned over the tables in the temple. Jesus got mad. I have actually a talk I've given it at a church that was Jesus got pissed off too. Sometimes we need to have great boundaries. That comes up in business in the form of policies, contracts, everything that we have in writing. All of these things prevent us from having problems down the road, and they're essential. So being a servant leader, as we'd like to think about with leadership, with God, right? Servant leadership in the great tradition of Jesus, Buddha, a lot of Gandhi, a lot of the people who have come on the planet, as well as the divine avatars who have come on the planet. Well, guess what? They were servant leaders, but they had pluck. They weren't just sitting back and saying, oh, let me please people, let me make everybody comfortable. They were marginalized. Jesus was hanging out with the tax collectors who were the most hated and with the harlots, for goodness sakes, you all. Do you think that he wasn't an outlier? He was an outlier. So was Buddha. By the way, there's some people who think that the energy is the same. It's just different stories of the etymology of God, the etiology of God, if you will. Interesting, huh? So we need to realize that being a servant leader does not mean we are a servile leader. Let me repeat that. Being a servant leader does not mean we are a servile leader. And by that, I mean we are not slaves to our work. We don't need to be slaves to our work. I work no more than 25 hours a week, and I'm enjoying six-figure income, and you can too. It's absolutely possible. You can be part of that 13.7% that actually make it to 100K and beyond. And you could be part of the seven-figure club if you want, and multiple seven-figure club too. That's about 1% of the population, by the way. You can do that too if that matters to you. So we're meant to lead ourselves. We're meant to be to lead our clients. We're not meant to be people pleasers. We're not meant to be people who just are yes men and yes women. Yes, 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 yes. Servant leader does not mean servile leader. So when we talk about leadership with God, I'd like you to remember that, because sometimes we want to make it all flowery and pretty and sweet. And there's a side to this of tough love. In fact, I believe that people who truly love us tell us the truth. They aren't afraid to tell us the truth. They care enough to risk telling us the truth. They care enough to cut through the BS. And we've all heard BS can also be belief system, the negative belief system that's there, to just laser through it and say, hey, here's what I hear you saying. Just had someone the other day talking to me about how she felt very uncomfortable. We were having an enrollment conversation to bring her into my Make It Happen mastermind coaching program. And it was very uncomfortable. And I get it. Guess what? When we are uncomfortable, do you know what it means? It means something big is at stake. We really care. We don't want to stay small. We don't want to stay in our comfort zone. We want to kick the walls of the prison we've put around ourselves down. And so what I said to this person is, you know what? It's a great thing. It means the stakes are high. And we all know that growth doesn't happen inside the box. Growth happens outside the box, or even outside the window, or even when we blow the roof off. That's when growth happens in our lives. Growth happens when we're circling at the gas station wondering what the heck we can do to help the person we love. Growth happens when we care about leading ourselves and leading others. Growth happens then. So real love is direct and forthright. Real love speaks truth. Real love doesn't mince words. And if you go to the great spiritual text and look there and you look at the red and you just read the red, you do okay. Guess what? The red words spoken by Jesus, pretty direct. Well, you might say some of the parables aren't and some of the images aren't, but a lot of what Jesus said was very, very direct. There were no words minced there. Love each other. Very simple. Very simple, right? So let's banish the naysayers in ourselves and around us, you all. That's what we get to do, is banish the naysayers who are within us, the Helgas, the Mortimers, the Gertrudes, the Deidre Downers. We get to banish those. We get to celebrate and embrace our I am presence. I am the divine in action. I am love. I am faithfulness. I am goodness. I am truth. I am love. And we get to stop holding ourselves small. I want to leave you with one thought. And Marianne, I did think I was going to do a meditation, but I think right now my feeling is I'm going to leave that. But what I will do, if everybody would like this, is we'll do a very quick little, let's get that crap off of us, Reiki. How does that sound? And then I have one last thought to give you. So everybody, I'm going to suggest to you that you just, for a second, close your eyes. And Reiki is a natural method of stress and pain relief. And this will be just like a very, very quick meditation. I'd like you to close your eyes and imagine that there is a whirlwind of light around you. You're standing in the middle of a whirlwind of light. It's like a cyclone of light. And that light represents the God presence. That light represents love. That light represents healing, peace, all the good qualities that we all desire to be in the world. And just imagine that that light is circling around you, that cyclone of light, that tornado of light, that whirlwind of light is circling around you and pulling off of you all of the Helga energy, all of the negativity, all of the doubt, all the parts of you that think I can't. It's never going to happen. I haven't made it yet in my business, so I'll never make it. Maybe I'll just give up. How about, are you willing to release those into this light? Are you willing to let them go? Just imagine that that light is like a big magnet swirling around you, pulling off of you all of this negativity. Are you willing to let it go? If so, in your mind, say, I am willing to let this BS, remember, belief system, let this go. I am willing to let it go, and I do so now. And even say it aloud because we can't hear you. Make people wonder in the coffee shop. I am willing to let go of this now, and I let it go now. And that light energy pulls off all that negativity off of us. And imagine that it's going into a special machine. And that negativity is being transformed into positive healing energy, positive healing energy. Good. Yes. Let it go. And now that energy that has been turned into positive healing energy, guess what? It showers over us. Imagine a waterfall of light that comes down from the heavens onto you. It is unconditional love washing away any other negativity, any other stress and tension, any other worries and concerns that you have. Let that beautiful waterfall of light flow down your body and wash those into the earth, where Mother Earth transforms it into nourishment. Nourishment for the plants, nourishment for the soil, nourishment for our beloved planet. And finally, let's put a seal of golden white light around you. Imagine it like in the great paintings where we see the aura, we see the energy field of Jesus, and we see the energy field of other great characters in those paintings. Just imagine that beautiful light energy around you. We place that seal of beautiful light there so that any negativity is deflected from you and you are empowered to live your passionate, purposeful, profitable vocation now. And so it is. And you can open your eyes and bring your awareness back here. My last thought for you is this. When you hold yourself small, when you hold yourself small in your life and business, you hold God small, and that is unacceptable.
Amen to that. Thank you, Barnsley. Thank you, Dr. Barnsley Brown. Was that something else or what? I just want to tell you that my people are called the committee because I have more than one. So you have Helga, I have the entire committee. So they've been with me my whole life.
Just don't make them the board of directors, Marianne. Don't let
They're
them
not
be the board of directors.
directors, but they're still there every once in a while. They pop up and then we're done. But anyways, thank you so much for that. I love your rendition of God getting out of doubt. Like that's perfect. I totally love that.
Getting out of doubt.
Thank
We
you so
can't do
much.
it. The world needs us now.
Thank you so much. That was amazing.